Okay guys, in this video I'm going to finish up scales. Of course there's a lot more scales than the ones that I've told you about, but I'd like to go ahead and move on into chords. And first of all, I would like to explain the melodic minor scale to you. And the melodic minor scale is different ascending than it is descending. And the way you remember how it goes is the first three keys are minor, and then the rest on the way up is major. And then on the way back down, it goes back to natural minor. Here's what it sounds like up and down. Whoa, everything's all messed up on my toolbar. Okay, and the reason I wanted to introduce that to you before we get into chords is because oftentimes in the minor key they use a major 5 chord, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. Let's start with a C major chord. We've been working in C major, and as you know, this is C major. Okay, and a chord is made up of a first, a third, and a fifth. And in this case, the C is the first, the D is the second, the E is the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So you can see how the chords are set up. And if I were in, I don't know, if I were in C minor, this would be the first, this would be the second, and then the E flat would be the third. But, so let's go ahead and make a major chord here. A first, a third, and a fifth. Okay, we have our first right here. We can remove the second, keep the third, remove the fourth, keep the fifth, and then remove the rest of them. And now we have a C major chord. Okay, and the way you know that this is a major chord is because there is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 half steps between the first and the third. That's what makes it major. If I flat this third, because remember in minor, it's you flat the third, you flat the third, the sixth, and the seventh, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the third, sixth, and seventh. So now it's minor, and this is what a minor sounds like. And as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3 half steps, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. But a major has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay? There's two other types of chords, and one of them is a diminished chord, and it is always a minor chord, and a diminished chord on sheet music is designated as like a little degree sign. And a diminished chord is 3 half steps to the third, which makes it minor, and then another 3 half steps to the, well, it's not a fifth anymore, it's a diminished. So 1, 2, 3. This is a diminished chord right here. And the other type of chord is an augmented chord, and it has 4 half steps and 4 half steps again. So this would be an augmented chord right here. Okay, and another thing I want to cover really quick here is to wrap up the scales is for every major scale there's a relative minor scale. So as you know, the C major scale is from C to C, all white keys. Well, the A minor scale is from A to A, all white keys. So it's the exact same scale, it just starts and ends in a different position, and it's called the relative minor of C. So C major's relative minor is A minor. Okay, and now to move on here, basic chords that are constructed of a first, a third, and a fifth are called simple chords. There's all kinds of crazy chords out there, and I'll put a file up on my website that has all those crazy chords on it. You can also find those crazy chords at www.looknohands.com/chord house, and then go to the piano room. Let's see here, where was I? Okay, now we need to talk about chord inversions. Let's do a C major chord here. C, E, G, first, third, fifth. Okay, and if I wanted to move to a 5 chord here in C major, the fifth, which is G, that would be a G, B, D chord. But if I put it up here, it's not very practical to make that much movement in the song. And this is what chord inversions are used for. See, listen, and you'll hear it's an extreme amount of movement to get to the 5 chord. So, a chord inversion is where you take either the third or the fifth of the chord and use it in the bass instead of the root, which in this case is G. So, we're going to make this a first inversion 5 chord, and we're going to put the third in the bass, which would be B. B. And then we're going to move this down here. So now we have a first inversion 5 chord. And the reason for doing this is so that the bass notes don't have to jump very far, and you can stay in the same region, and you can either move the bass by step or by skip this way, rather than jumping all over the keyboard. And when you have a chord that has 2 notes like this together, unless you just want to repeat it to emphasize it, you generally just want to extend that note. That's something that's taught in 4-voice part writing. I might cover some other 4-voice part writing techniques in another tutorial because it's pretty practical for writing any type of music. But here's what our 1-5 sounds like, and I'm going to make it longer. As you can see, it sounds much better this way than it did when we were having to jump all the way up here to make the same chord. And okay, now I'm going to show you a 5 chord in second inversion, which means the fifth is in the bass, which is G, B, D. See, so if we put it in first inversion, we were able to move the bass down a half a step. If we put it in second inversion, we're going to be able to move the bass up a half a step because the chord is G, B, D. So put it here, D, go up to the G. Well, we'll sustain the G since our 1 chord has a G in it. And we'll put the B up here. Now this is a second inversion because once again the fifth is in the bass. Now let's put it back to first inversion real quick just to see what it sounds like. See, as you can see, you'd probably want to use the first inversion here. It sounds a little bit better to me. Anyways, that wraps up my introduction to simple chords, and it also wraps up the scales. I'm going to continue the chords tutorials in the next few videos and cover a few more things like circle progressions and basic chord progressions that most songs are written with. And later on I'll show you some more stuff with the pentatonic scales and whatnot. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good evening.